one night, I was still 15 years old because I wouldn't be 16 till December. And I was in my bedroom, and it was already getting dark, you know, because my dad would come home from work. Anyway, I had already gotten into bed. And it was a good sized room. And my father came in, you know, make sure your bed lights turned out and say good night to you and stuff, or see if you want to talk to him or anything, because I was the oldest. And I said to him, Dad, what happened between you and my mother? Would you tell me what happened? And he said, when you get older, you will understand. That's a hell of an answer. I have to get older to understand. How old do I have to get? He didn't say how old, you know. So I'm laying there in the dark as he turned the light off as he went out. And I'm laying there in the dark trying to figure out what he was talking about. When I get older, I will understand. And then in the middle of the room, meaning about from here to the back of that Davenport, in about that high in the air, in the dark, appeared this small, like a flake, snowflakes, you know, and it was about the size of a nickel, but it was square. It wasn't round, and it looked like a piece of gold, actual gold. And it was just suspended there in the air, and I was watching it like a firefly. And then it burst into many more pieces the same size, also golden. And they started swarming, flying around the room, but never landed on the floor, never touched the floor, never touched the walls, just kept swarming around, you know, flying. And I'm watching this. What the hell is, what the hell is this? It wasn't frightening. It was pretty, you know, I mean, there's no reason for me to get scared. And then, after a while, they started coming together, started coming back. Only, they all didn't come back to the original piece, because which one now was the original piece? And they started coming in, and as they were coming in, coming back together, they started forming a body of a man, about 6 feet tall. That's what I would measure. Above, about this high off the floor. And I kept watching to see, you know, like a 15-year-old would do. And they continued, and the body became more solid, opaque, not transparent like a ghost or a spirit. You know, I didn't know what the hell a spirit was like. And before you knew it, I began to see who it was, or who it looked like. Jesus. Shoulder-length hair, a dark brown with golden highlights, or the light, you know, gold, you know, and his complexion, as it became more and more and more, was like the inside of a ripe peach. You cut it in half, and you take out the pit gently, and then with your finger just smooth around in there, not injuring it, and then you run it under cold running water, very, very gently, you know, and then hold it in the sunlight. That was the texture and the colors of his complexion. That's the only thing I've ever been able to compare it to. And his robe became a blue. A true blue, whatever the hell true blue is, but blue. I mean, I've never seen blue like that. And he had sandals on his feet, But they weren't made of leather. And at that time, there was no knowledge of plastic as we know it today. But going back, they were not made of plastic. And they were a gray, kind of like a gray color, but they were more like part of his feet. Not that he had put them on, but they were like part, handmade, see, to fit those feet just perfect. You can tell when a shoe is like that. And he stood there with his hands like this in front of him, just like this. But you see, you cup your hands. And he became, whoa, just like I see you, a person, not a ghost or he became an actual person, alive, real. And his eyes were blue. Even the sapphires, blue sapphires, would have been jealous of those eyes. And he just stood there looking at me. And in the meantime, there was fire coming out of the side of him, the side, not the front or the back, around the whole body except the feet. And this looked like fire. And it was going out of the body and coming back into the body. It would come back in and then go out again. And they were the primary colors, the red, the yellow, the blue, the orange, and what have you, were very brilliant colors, not like fire. Fire doesn't have those kinds. The colors are not that, you can see through them. The most beautiful. I mean, it was so beautiful. And then he was just standing there looking at me, and then the blue robe turned into a white robe. And the only thing I can compare the texture and the whiteness of that robe is to take here we go. And as I was saying, the robe, the only thing I can compare would be the petals of a gardenia flower. But a healthy, raised in a hothouse or I've seen gardenias like that, and that you get from the florist. And that's the only thing that I can compare the texture and what that robe looked like. And he stood there just looking at me with those eyes, not eyeballing me, just looking at me. And I saw more love in those eyes than I'd ever seen even in my father's eyes. And I knew my father loved us. The only thing I've been able to compare that is that love was deeper than any ocean. That's the only way I can put it. I never saw so much love. He didn't say one word, just stood there looking at me. And I was looking into those eyes. And I remember that I wished I could become little and crawl into those eyes and keep going. That's what I thought of when I was looking at him. And then he disappeared. He was gone. That's it. Like nothing ever happened. Well, I was real happy after seeing this because I was miserable. But suddenly I was very happy. I felt better. But I couldn't understand. Was it really Jesus? I couldn't imagine anything like that. That's spectacular. Even Walt Disney couldn't come up with anything like that. So beautiful. If this was put on a motion picture screen, with all the technology they have today, all the effects and everything and all that, people would say that is the most